back out in the afternoon after the first session. Did say wasn't sure whether I was going to go on the Hampshire Avon, Dorset style, or stay local and go after the perch. It was feeling quite perchy, and it is. So I've decided to stay local. So I've come down to the lake that I help run, which is local to my home. We do have some nice perch in there. They've been coming on the last few years. And in large, I've been able to keep it a bit of a secret, but last year or so, it's unfortunately not been as good a secret. So I've had a few members ask me as well for a few hints and tips as well, so it's a little bit why this video is about as well. So any members that pick up and watch this as well, it's just to help you as anyone else spread the love a little bit, and hopefully you get successful with some of the beautiful perch that are in it. So firstly, I just want to go through two things. So the rig I'm using today. So Durrant Valley 11-foot specialist rod. I think it's one. It might be 0.75. Anyway, lovely action in the rod, coupled up with a centre pin reel, which is an all-cox match aerial that I've had for a number of years now. Yes, it is much older than I am, as I'm sure you all know. But a lovely rod, nice fit to it. Got quite a few different centre pin reels, but I love using this. It hasn't got much of a clutch, so again, perch don't like resistance. So if it does get taken, I can just literally just touching that and it moves. And I know you can adjust those centre pins yourself, but naturally that does it. On the hook, I've got I think it's a size 6 hook, Palomar knot fluorocarbon, and then a swivel linking that together. So that there, I've got an Olivet that I run down the line, which is a 5 gram Olivet, and then on the top end here is a perch bobber float, which is one of mine that I make. Might do a video at some point around some of the floats I've made, loads of different types of floats, but that perch bobber there, I've made a series of these. Love using them, certainly with the baits that I use. They make a lovely action in the water, and it always feels good to catch something on something you've made, which some of you I'm sure can relate to. Now, the bait side of things. A few things that I use here. So one, I love using prawns. Some lakes do switch on with prawns, some don't. This lake really does. Everything else likes it, unfortunately, as well, so you will pick up the odd carp, but we've got an air tench, which is always welcome, same as carp. Eels, which I personally do like eels, they like them. And I also use smaller prawns as well to go in my feed, and I'll just come to the feed what I use, because that is important, I think, that we've got in there. And I've got the bucket again, so in there I've got a little bit of a ground bait mix that I got from home, which is again some roach kind of gross guard on stuff. In there as well is some maggots, some of it's dead, some of it's alive, and you'll see it there. I've got some of the prawns that I've just chopped up, some of the smaller ones that have gone in the mix too, as well as some worms, some other worm extracts that I've put in there as well, and an important ingredient I like to put in, which a lot of old school anglers would use, which is molehill soil. So we've still got fresh molehill soil around here. I normally riddle it. Didn't bring my riddle with me this afternoon, but I've managed to siphon it some with my hands. Some of the top stuff is the best stuff. Got loads of nutrients in it, loads of bits of worm will be in there, loads of different things, and again it bulks up a little bit so it gets the bait down quicker. We're fishing in about 5 or 6 foot of water down here, and I am going to move about a little bit. There's a little gap in the lilies that someone created there, which was probably me, because that's part of my job, is to get rid of some of the lilies. I did have a couple of good fish out of there the other day. There is a small head of twos in here. There's quite a lot of perch in general. I also am going to fish another rod as well, which will just be to bring the silvers in. So it's just going to be a basic float rod that I've got made up down here. I won't bore you with the details on it. But I do find, even at this time of year, bringing in some of the silvers, you know you're in the right place. We're coming into autumn now. They're starting to feed well. They're starting to bulk up for winter. So let's give it a go. Just before I do cast out, I should show you the hook bait I use on the main perch rod. So I use about half a prawn, 3/4 of the prawn. Just nip through the top there with the hook coming out, and I also think it's good to put just a visual attractor, a red maggot on there, or a little bit of worm. Just gives me an extra bit of confidence. So that's generally what I'll do. Let's get it in the water. Floats out there now, just in that gap. I already did put some free bait out there. Not a lot. You know, you don't want to put loads of prawns out. They're quite heavy. See a little bounce there already, so it did just bob there a little bit. I don't know if that got caught up on the camera. But that's a good sign already that there might be fish around now. Of course, I don't know what's around, but hopefully there's a nice perch, one or two down there. What I will do within this session as well is I will be roving around. I haven't got long, only a couple of hours. Did manage to get back from the last session and pick my son up from school, which was nice for me to actually go and see him for a bit. Not sure he felt the same, but that's another story for another video. So we've got one out there fishing. I'm in two minds whether I'm going to set two up for the minute, to be honest with you. Going to need to watch that rod. There's a lot of lilies about. If I do get a fish, I need to be on it and make sure that it doesn't go through them. Even though the lilies are dying back now and they will pull through, I never like to get the fish through the pads there. I think it's a good thing to try and stop them if we can. They are very, very thin lilies, but much the same. If we can stop them going through it, all the better. We do have, moving up the lake a little bit there, some other spots which are usually quite productive. It does slope off a little bit. You can fish quite to the edge. Perch love cover. There isn't a lot of cover here, but the lilies do act as cover in this little gap. So I'll be honest, I've never really fished this part for perch until the other day, and I did quite well. That's why we're giving it a go again. And the wind is blowing down this way. Sometimes that makes a difference, but it could be that another fish has turned up like your carp, but we'll see. As I say, only a couple of minutes in, and the perch bobber has already done a little dance, so we will see how we get on. Okay, so I have moved along now, just to this swim here. I'm literally fishing just off the edge of the platform. There's a bit of a bush there where I'm sure some of the perch will be sitting. And I've got some prawn on that one. And then I'm just going to stick the other float down there with a bit of worm on it, really close to the edge. And as you can see, I won't go too far, but no more than about a foot off the bank. And essentially that might be too far itself. Let's see how we get on with that. I've been here about an hour now. And this is my third swim. So, you know, if I'm not finding the silvers, I just keep moving. It was interesting, the swim just to the right, the left of me, sorry, absolutely not a touch. Half an hour, both rods out, one on worm, one on prawn, no touches at all. Bought the worm rod just here, which is literally 10 yards, 20 yards probably, from one end to swim to another. And dropped the worm in and had a small perch straight away, which, you know, big perch are very cannibalistic. They'll often take small perch and they'll hang around where they are, so, or any silverfish. So always as a rule of thumb for me, I always try and find where the silverfish are. So yeah, it gives me a bit more confidence moving to this swim. I've got carp jumping out there. Got one just down here, which I don't know if you can see that. There's a little bush there, so I've got the perch bobber out there. And the other one, I haven't done anything with yet. I'm going to get it just down here with some worm on it. Keep feeding red maggot over the top of that one. See if we get the bigger ones to come in. So I've been about an hour. Starting to cloud over a little bit. The sun did come out for a little while, which I was unsurprised to see that, to be honest with you, but it's certainly clouding over a bit now. We are due a bit of a bad weather later on, so I think I've probably got about another hour or so. Don't always get big perch every time, so I'm not going to be disappointed if I don't, but I'll certainly give it my best shot. So I'm still in swim number 3. I've had loads of small perch, sort of this big on the worm, just down there on the second float rod. But nothing at all on the prawn, which is okay. That happens sometimes. It's about 5:45 now, so I think I've been here about an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes, something like that. But something's kind of drawing me back to the first swim I was in. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I've had little twitches down there earlier on, or it's because I had 2 fish from there in the week. Sometimes we just have those senses, anglers, don't we, that we need to go back. There's something drawing us to it, so I think that's what I'm going to do. I've only got about half an hour, 45 minutes maximum left. The light is slowly starting to drop. Darkness is around, you know, 7:15 at the moment. I'll be honest, I don't always find it feeds that well when it just starts getting dark. I mean, most waters for fish for perch, as the light starts to dip, that's when you get your confidence about it, as with most species. But down here, it doesn't always pan out like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's it for tonight. But I'll certainly keep going for another 3/4 of an hour or so, because I can't catch that at home, can I? Right, now back in the first swim, which is definitely the last swim, if that makes sense. I know what I mean anyway. As soon as I turned the camera off, naturally the rod did shoot off with a prawn on it. Wasn't a perch though, it was an eel, around, quite a nice one actually, around about a pound. Lip hooked, which is always nice. So that went back nice and easy. But wasn't the intended species, so didn't bother putting the camera back on its tripod. But we're now back in this swim. It has started to drizzle a little bit. Naturally, I didn't bring my brolly with me. I'm only coming out for a couple of hours. But I'm quite happy sitting out in it, and as long as it doesn't hammer it down. It is due to rain pretty hard later on. We've got a little bit at the end of the storm coming in, I believe. But, so I don't know what drew me back to here. We'll see if it works. If not, I've had a lovely day anyway. It's been fantastic going down the river, which will be part 1 of today. Catching all those roach, dace, lovely bit of small river fishing. You know, I've had a really nice time. Got to see a bit more of the family as well. Went home for the afternoon, so that was cool. And I haven't got a long journey home. It literally takes about a minute to drive back from here, so lucky me having this right on my doorstep. Brilliant. Well, I'll put the camera back on if we get any bites. Fingers crossed. That's the prize. If I get it in, that is launched off. Just inside the net. So there we go. Oh, let that rest a little minute. Unfortunately, I probably didn't catch a lot of that on camera, but that was my other bait down here. I put a prawn on. I was feeding 2 lines. Got the prawn out there and the prawn down here. An angler said the other day, I can't remember who it was, about that 6th sense of going back to, well, just a 6th sense in angling. I can't remember what they're referring to. I thought you're absolutely right, and I just talked about it before, about I just had that feeling of going back to this spot. I don't know why, and I've now got a really nice fish in the net that we'll have a look at. It's definitely a 2. And again, all on those tactics that I just said. I just literally chucked a bit of this out there. I've had that going down in that spot there. And I'm literally fishing, you know, just under a bush. So just literally sort of just down there by that bush. And that's steamed off. Initially I did think it was a carp, to be honest with you. Went right over into the leaves there, but after about 3 or 4 seconds you feel that head shake and heart in mouth. We've got a good one in the net.